You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from Cinemajaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt K, and with me is...
Rye the Movie Guy, and sitting to my left, none other than KP.
Hello.
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we get a little creepy, a little crawly.
You're always creepy.
Yeah, that's true. But we get a little crawly this week as well, as we cover our top 5 favorite creepy, crawly, and exotic animals. Is that what you called this episode?
Yeah, this is a tough one to title. I said creepy crawlies, but we're also covering dangerous animals. Creepy crawlies and dangerous animals. Not your run-of-the-mill cats and dogs.
Right, or horses.
Right.
The common animals that we see in movies all the time.
Of course you go to horses, Ryan.
I'm a horse guy.
Of course you go to horses.
I love horse movies. There's no doubt about it. And we teased this episode last week because it's very different for us. We actually have a guest who's going to be coming in that brought some creepy, crawling, and dangerous animals.
Yeah. Ali from the Reptile Den will be joining us. I can't wait. This is like the kind of guest I've wanted to have for a long, long time.
I'm nervous, and I'm so happy, Jawheads. We're situated in a way where I hear there's snakes in the room. I don't know what else is there, but the good news is it's all over on the left side of the room next to Matt.
Behind me, yes. And a little behind the scenes here. Ali's girlfriend Mitzi is here, and she like grabbed her drink out of a paper bag, and it like freaked out. True story. That really happened. I'm glad no one noticed.
We are going to do some filming. KP will be filming a lot of this as well for our YouTube channel, so you will be able to see it, not just listen to it as well, Jawheads.
Yeah. This should be a nice treat. We'll maybe even do a bonus segment for Patreon or something.
Absolutely. And in honor of this, we're doing our top 5 favorite creepy, crawly, dangerous animals that are not necessarily relying too much on CGI, but movies that did concentrate on using actual insects,
right,
and dangerous animals.
It may be a mix, but there was an animal wrangler employed, at least on all of my picks.
All of my picks as well. Mine are actually not so much about the movie as particular scenes that had these live animals in them. So we'll get to these.
I got a little bit of both. Besides
that, we have a couple of good reviews in honor of this subject. You wanted me to finally watch Eight-Legged Freaks.
Right.
A film that came out in the early 2000s starring David Arquette. We have a review of that, plus a new Netflix review entitled The Kitchen, which is co-directed by Daniel Kaluuya.
Right.
Who appeared here on Cinemajaw.
He was on Cinemajaw.
He was on Cinemajaw.
Full circle.
And he's an Oscar winner, so look at that.
Weird.
Very strange. It is also still Sam Rockwell month. We're going to do a fact on Sam Rockwell, but I wanted to announce the trivia will also be about bugs and creepy crawlers. Movie trivia.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a shot at it for a change.
KP, Sam Rockwell fact.
Yes, we've learned a lot about Sam this month. He's very calisthenically inclined, right, as we talked about with our first fact regarding him dancing. What I didn't realize was kind of maybe foolish, I don't know, or just like sticking to his gun. But he was supposed to be in G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. But he was fired from that job, which I did not realize that you could get fired from being in a movie.
Sure.
Rockwell admits to being fired from G.I. Jane by saying, I gave them no alternative option because I did not want to learn how to scuba dive, which is like, who does not want that? What? And
I'll raise my hand. I don't really.
There are so many like middle-class families going on Norwegian cruises to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Who pay money for this, Sam. And you were being paid. He went on to say that, to be fair, he wouldn't have minded learning in the Bahamas or somewhere warm, but he didn't want to learn at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is what they needed him to do. Still, it's like, what? I would love someone to pay me to go. I have so much student loans to just be like, I don't want to learn this.
Yeah, no doubt. It would be good to get paid to do something fun.
Why I think that's an interesting fact is, we're doing movies with, have snakes and bugs in them. And if I was an actor, this is the stuff that would freak me out. And I know I have one on my list about an actress that had issues with this as well. And I could see myself actually quitting a production if it was like, okay, you got to do this in a room with like these 10 snakes. I'd be like, yeah, I'm finding another movie. You know what I mean?
I mean, everyone's got a line, right?
I agree.
I guess Sam's is scuba diving.
I feel like my line would be just showing up for work, right? Like
That's your line?
I would want to be surrounded by. If I'm doing something this fun, I would want it to be like an experience. I wouldn't want it to just be like, okay, well, we show up and do our job and go home.
True.
So earlier this week, Matt, it was like 2 days ago. I was walking home. It was dark out already. And this does happen in the city of Chicago. You'll get a rat that runs across the street or the sidewalk, and a rat
Or your shoes.
A rat, as I was walking down, came out of one of the stairwells, like underneath the stairwell of a neighboring house, as I was walking out, and basically got on the sidewalk right in front of me, about 50 feet in front of me, and started walking towards me. Now, a lot of times, you just make a noise, scare them
Clap
away,
your hands.
shoo them. It would not move away. And I yelled. And now it was like we were playing a game of chicken, getting closer and closer. And finally, I had to scream, ah! And then it finally ran away. And I thought...
You can't even intimidate a rat?
I thought, this is that damn Ali. He's already messing with my head. I know we're going to have this guy on the show. He's messing with my head already.
The Pied Piper of Chicago?
So that is the story we lead in with our guest, Ali from the Reptile Den, making his Cinemajaw debut. Ali, welcome to the Jaw.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
So how did you... Well, first of all, let's call... What do you do with this animal wrangling?
So I'm a professional animal handler. So what the Reptile Den does, we specialize in educational presentations, live demonstrations with these animals. I do a lot of birthday parties, park districts, schools, libraries, that sort of thing. We also do productions. I'd like to get into that more. But yeah, we kind of provide reptiles and bugs for your private events.
You were saying before we started recording that you did over 100 shows last year, and this year you're probably going to double, huh?
Yeah, I think so. We've been real busy. So this year I think we're going to double that number. We already have, over 20 shows booked right now.
Wow.
Just kind of leading into the next couple of months. And it's been a lot of fun, that's for sure.
So how many animals and insects do you have in the den? Just give us an idea of a number here.
More than 50, less than 100, I would say. If you were to count everything that's alive, that's there.
Just give us a potpourri of what we got. We got snakes, we got cockroaches,
yeah, we have
kind of stuff?
snakes, pythons, endangered snakes even. I have some state permits for snakes that are endangered here in Illinois. Cockroaches, big tarantulas of various sizes and colors. We're actually pending an inspection from IDNR for crocodiles, so I have my enclosure built out, and in the next month or two, we'll have crocodiles added. So,
do you ever get nervous? Obviously you know what you're doing, but a crocodile is a far cry from a tarantula.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but you really have to. You can't be afraid, right? You know what I mean? You have to maintain professionalism and that sort of thing. So, and the animals, we'll probably go into it a little more, but they can sense hesitation, and that sort of thing kind of psychs them out. So you don't ever want to act really uncertain when you're handling, a 50-pound snake. That's all muscle, so you can't be nervous. So I don't afford myself that luxury.
So how do you deal with kids or the audience at your shows if they are nervous?
So that's honestly a pretty big problem that we run into. I go to some shows where nobody wants to touch any snake, but by the end of the show, everybody's holding a snake. So we really kind of try to explain the whole premise of, okay, why are we afraid of, snakes and that sort of thing. I think man evolved to be scared of snakes when we used to be maybe primal, and they actually posed a really big threat. But the truth is, if you were to encounter, an animal like a snake in the wild, the last thing it wants to do is bite you. So it's really understanding how a snake is and why they are the way that they are, and getting animals in people's hands and just explaining safe practices to hold them. And really that's the big message, is conservation when we do these shows. So by the end of it, everybody's holding a snake, really.
So the snake seems to be the most popular, probably. But what is the creature that you have that is actually scares the people the most? Is it the tarantula?
I would say the tarantula. So tarantulas have a cool thing going on for them where all tarantulas are venomous. So the ones that I deal with are mildly venomous, so you don't really have to worry too much.
Which means what exactly?
So if you were to get bit by it, it would maybe cause skin irritation or something like that. These tarantulas too, they're also of the hairy variety. So they have a thing called urticating hairs, where they'll throw their hairs on you as a weapon. And It's not too bad, but you really don't want to get it like in between your fingers or something like that.
It's kind of like a cactus needle,
yeah, exactly. So they'll throw it right off their back. They'll make a cloud of it. They'll booby trap their own webs with it. Yeah, really. And when they molt, when they like shed their exoskeleton, they come out with a full head of hair again. So that's how they regenerate their hair.
They have to molt to regenerate it?
Yes.
So this is like a one-use weapon in like video game terms.
Yeah, exactly, right? Until you level up and you regenerate all your health.
So when you're watching movies, and I know we're going to get to our top 5, we'll discuss it more probably then, but when you're watching movies and you see insects being used, you probably know if it's a real insect, CGI, instantly just by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So something that stuck out from Eight-Legged Freaks, they took some cinematic liberties, I guess you would say, but some of the stuff they said is, some of it's legit. So I figure we'll go into that. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff always sticks out to me when I'm watching movies and stuff. Like, are they using like proper terms and that kind of thing? So it's almost like a game when I'm watching that kind of stuff.
How did you get into this, man? I mean, were you educated? Did you self-educate? Is this like something you were super passionate about and decided, I'm going to start a business?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I've always had animals growing up, bugs that I would catch and reptiles and stuff like that. My parents were really, you can get all the animals you want when you have your own place and you're not living here anymore.
You took them up on that.
So I definitely did, and I think I went further than they'd ever expect. So I knew I wanted to work with animals for the rest of my life, and this is kind of the gateway that helped me do it. So I don't have any formal education. I did put myself through, I was a volunteer at a wildlife rehabilitative center working with their reptiles. I did that for 6 months and then started the business side of it. And what's really cool, it's allowed me to get reptiles that I probably could never justify if I wasn't doing it for work. So that's how I'm able to have, a 50-pound snake, or can have a miniature crocodile, that sort of thing. So, and it's really rewarding. I do a lot of shows with kids and it's really cool to see how excited they get when they see animals. Because, growing up, I would watch Steve Irwin. I'd watch Letterman reruns with Jack Hanna, like old school stuff.
Yeah.
And, that was the stuff that piqued my interest. So, it's really full circle being able to provide that for kids.
This is what I was picturing, actually. There was a Seinfeld episode where they get the old Marv Griffin set and they put it up in Kramer's...
Merv Griffin, but yeah, go on.
Merv Griffin, there it is, sorry. And that's what I'm thinking here. We're going to get to the animal part, and Matt's going to end up dying here.
Yeah, hopefully not.
But we should start to get to the point where maybe we bring out a snake and we can talk a little bit about the animals that you have here. Reptiles. I keep calling them animals. I don't know what
they are animals.
I know,
right?
but the proper
animals.
term,
you're an animal.
I know I am, but you can also say reptile. So what do we got here at the top? A lid is coming out here.
Yeah. So here, I reckon here. You know what? We'll start with we'll take out both of those. All right.
Whoa. All right.
All right, just brace yourselves.
You're,
all right?
You're fine, Ryan. It's just a
no.
snake.
Check this out. This is really cool. We're gonna pull out the other one too.
Wow.
So
wait, that's a real snake?
It's a real snake.
So Jawheads, it's curled up, and it almost looks like it would just be something you would put down on a coffee table. But now that you're unfurling it, oh my god,
that is a
so here, check this out.
Ball python, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy cow!
And they call them ball pythons, as you can see, because to get comfortable, they ball up. So, but check this out. I want to show you guys. So they really have their own personalities. So I have 2 ball pythons here. And check this out. This one right here, that's white and brown. They call that a piebald ball python.
That is a beautiful, beautiful snake.
So she'll keep these colors her whole life. So it's not like she
changes colors all the time?
She'll keep these colors. So it's not like she's in the midst of shedding. So she'll always have this white pigmentation. It's called piebald. And it's rare in the wild, but you see deer, rabbits could be piebald.
Oh, I've heard the term, but I've never applied to a snake.
So this right here is a piebald ball python. She's about a year old. And then this other one that I got right here, this is what you would call a wild type, a normal ball python. So these guys are native to West Africa. If you were to go to West Africa, find a wild ball python, these are the colors that you could find. This kind of blends in with the leaf clutter that they have going on over there, lets them hide. If you had a snake like this, it'd get eaten immediately, right? Because it's just going to stick out completely. So
that's why it's so rare.
You can tell how strong these animals are just by looking at the way it's wrapped around your hand.
They are constrictors, so they're all muscle. That's really how they hunt. and they're super interested right now. You can see how they're flicking their tongues.
What do you feed these creatures?
So they eat whole prey. Ball pythons, they get to maybe 4 to 5 feet. So they'll eat rats, stuff like that.
They can almost eat me.
There you go. So, yeah, super, super cool. A lot of people think snakes are slimy, but they're very smooth. I don't know if you guys want to touch.
I do.
I'll touch, but yeah, on that side.
So yeah, with ball python, this is a pretty general
Wow,
rule with all
that is
snakes.
pretty nice.
They're very head shy. So when I do shows with kids and stuff, I'm always like, don't touch them on the head. That's because birds and stuff that are trying to hunt them will go for the head, right?
Right.
And they don't have any limbs or anything. So sometimes they'll be on like a kid's shoulders and they'll be like, oh, it's choking me. But, that's really just, they're just holding on, right? You know what I mean? They don't have any limbs, so they're really going to anchor themselves. But these guys are super cool. And there's actually more ball pythons here in America than there is in the wild in West Africa. They're the most common pet snake that we have here in the U.S.
Interesting.
So just how this one's a piebald, there's over 5,000 different morphs. They call them morphs, that these snakes could come in different color schemes and patterning. And, it gets crazy. You'll have some morphs that are... I don't know if there's any anymore, but there used to be six-figure dollar snakes, ball pythons. So super, super cool. But yeah, so I wanted to bring a cool contrast of what you'd see in the wild, right? And kind of what you'd see here in the pet trade.
Do they like each other, or are they solo creatures?
So these are animals that live in complete solitude their whole lives. They only really meet to mate.
So when you keep them, they're in separate...
Yeah,
Separate
definitely.
enclosures?
Yeah, they're all in
Aquariums?
separate enclosures. But yeah, these guys live in burrows. So, they'll spend, almost all day underground just in a little burrow. And they'll come out to bask because they are cold-blooded. So they'll come out and they'll absorb the sun. That's why they have this kind of patterning, right? Because they're very vulnerable when they're out basking. So, because anything, they're just out in the open. They sprawl out to absorb all the sun. So... It really helps if they're camouflaged.
I was talking to you a little before we started. My brother lives in Arizona, where there are lots more reptiles, and unfortunately, they go and stretch out on the road because it's warm.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they'll warm up on the asphalt because it absorbs a lot of sun.
It's not too safe for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we actually have a road here in Illinois called Snake Road by Carbondale. It's the only road in the entire country that closes down from vehicle traffic for snake migration. So they shut it down twice a year because snakes use it to migrate. They cross the road. Because you're right, they do get hit by cars and that kind of thing. So super unique. There's a lot of reptile history here in Chicago and in Illinois, so especially with the Field Museum. Stuff like that.
Did you say how old these snakes are?
So they're you call them like yearlings. So they're about a year old, maybe a little older.
Do they have names?
This one's Maryland, and
That's the piebald.
This one's unnamed. So when you have so many animals like me, it's really hard to give them all names. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So we really just call them normal ball python, piebald ball python.
Well, if that one's Maryland, you should call this one Monroe.
There you go. So a lot of times when I do shows with kids, I'll be like, "What do you think his name is?" And they'll be like, "Oh, it's like Bob," and I'll be like, "You are exactly right."
Yeah, Bob's always a snake.
How did you guess that?
I know one Bob, and he's
Or
a
Fluffy.
snake.
Yeah,
Fluffy's a good one.
Yeah, how did you know? But no, it's a lot of fun. And these are some of the tamest snakes in the world. So the truth is, a snake is never going to seek you out to bite you.
So overall, not harmful to humans almost at all.
No.
Interesting.
A cat would bite you worse. Mm-hmm. So...
I've been bitten by cats. I can attest to that.
Absolutely.
All right. That was our first run through. That went pretty well. I actually touched a snake, Matt. I did better than I thought I was going to.
They are very, very beautiful.
KP, pretty cool, right?
Loved it.
What do we have next? This is exciting.
Should we just keep going through the animals?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Let's at
Why
least
not?
do one more.
Okay, we'll do one more, and then I think I'll save the last one for when we get into the movie. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
So, look, for this next one, I'm going to have to get up, folks.
Okay.
So here, we'll give my
Do you need
wonderful assistant a moment to bag the snake. But yeah, so we'll probably need a little bit of room.
Okay.
At least initially. We're in a little kind of tight spot. This is really cool.
All right, Jawheads, we are watching Ali and his assistant
Holy
pull out
crap.
the biggest damn snake I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a snake in this big in
huge. We have too much stuff on the table to set him here, but
in person. This thing is. How many feet is this?
He is over 10 foot long.
10 footer.
10 foot long, Jawheads. We're going to get Ali back on the mic here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got to take a photo here. Oh my God. All right, so this is a first on Cinemajaw. I mean, we've never had live animals, and holy crap, man, that is a beautiful, beautiful creature.
Thank you.
It's impressive, to say the least.
So this is Starburst. He's a 16-year-old Burmese python. He's albino. He's over 50 pounds. I said he's 10 foot long. And I always say he gets heavier every appearance I do, so that's for sure. And he's a super cool animal. These Burmese pythons here, they're the 3rd largest snake in the world. He's actually like weighing me down. So this is also one of the 3 snakes that are known to eat people.
Wow.
But Starburst
Yikes.
here, he's a gentle giant. He's actually a classroom pet that outgrew the classroom.
Yeah, I'll say.
For sure. But what do you feed this snake?
So just to put it in perspective, these guys in the wild, they'll eat alligator, deer, boar, the occasional person. Here in captivity, I mean, he'll eat, full-sized rabbits. They actually have rats that are like the size of footballs, honestly. Giant rats.
Yeah, that's the one that ran over Ryan's shoe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, and those are honestly easy meals for him. I give him easy meals because he is a senior snake. The truth is these animals could eat 150% of their body weight. So super cool. I mean, they'll eat things that are absolutely gigantic. But Starburst here, he's a sweetheart. So he's one of our big
do they
ambassador
only
animals.
eat live prey, or
No, none of my animals eat live prey.
Okay.
So I have so many animals that I got to buy their food in bulk. So I'll literally get bags of frozen rats, like 100 rats in a bag, and we just freeze them, thaw them out. They're just like heat them up so they're warm and they think it's real. So.
Wow.
But super cool.
Yeah,
So
that guy is pure muscle.
Wow. You're not kidding. Impressive.
yeah, he's a cool snake. So I don't know if you guys want to feel him.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a really good perspective on, because you guys said they're all muscle with the ball pythons. This is a giant python, so I mean they're really all muscle.
That's, oh my God. Very smooth,
God. That's crazy.
not slimy at all.
No.
It almost is, it's like, it's pleasant to the touch.
Absolutely. Get over there. Starburst here.
But it does not look light.
No, he's not light. So, so really, really interesting, right?
Wow.
What's well, I'll wait till you get back on the mic here. I'll give you a minute.
Sure.
I'm gonna miss Starburst.
Starburst like the candy.
Where does Starburst keep his lungs? Like, how does that work? I honestly never asked this
it's
question.
pretty
before.
trippy. I mean, they have a spine that runs along their whole body, and yeah, they fit their lungs and all their little organs, just real tight with their their skeleton. Super cool. There's a lot of things people don't know about snakes. Like, I mean, they poop and their pee comes out solid sometimes. It's called urates. A lot of people don't know that when I talk about them, but that's a pretty fun party fact that I like to bring out.
A party fact. I'm going to whip that one out sometime.
Yeah, there
Did
you go.
you know snakes pee solid?
Yeah, they definitely do. It's called urates.
Wow.
Makes it really easy to clean.
Nice.
Yeah, there's an added benefit.
And I always say that the most dangerous end of Starburst is the tail end, because when he goes, I mean, he poops bigger than my dad's Doberman. Seriously.
Well, I mean, if you're eating a full-size deer or rabbit or 100 frozen
That's
rats,
right.
That
I mean,
is
it's
crazy.
nuts. And these animals could go over a year without eating. I mean, they're ambush predators, so they're going to lay in place. And if nothing goes over where they're staying, I mean, they're not going to eat. They could slow their metabolism and go over a year without eating. So he'll have 3 meals before he poops. Then he just unleashes absolute chaos in
And
the
what's
enclosure.
what's the lifespan of a snake like that?
So Starburst, he's 16. He's a very senior snake. These Burmese pythons, they live like 15 to 25 years.
Wow.
So
It's awesome. So for
Insane.
jawheads listening to this that maybe want to have a party, they want to rent you out, all that good stuff, where should we send them to online to?
or if they're making a
Absolutely.
movie, and
or
they
they're
need-
making a
That's
movie
right,
or a
yeah.
production or a haunted house.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to get into more productions and stuff. So I literally brought a very small fragment of what we have. I mean, we have an array of cockroaches, scorpions, more tarantulas, more snakes. We're going to have the crocodile. That'll be really cool. Giant lizards we have at home. So, but yeah, like I said, our main website is thereptileden.net. So den.net. We have Instagram. We're under the same name, The Reptile Den. We're on Facebook. There's a lot of ways to find us. So
It's a nice name too. I think it's great.
It
The
is. It
Reptile
works.
Den.
I'll throw the links in the show notes for everybody too. They can just
Cool.
go click it. and get in touch with Ollie.
Yeah, we have another surprise creature coming out once we get into this review here, Matt.
Yeah, I might be nervous about that.
So we're not done quite yet. And the review, Jawheads, eight-legged freaks. When Matt Kay heard I had never seen the David Arquette film Eight-Legged Freaks, he totally freaked out. The film came out in 2002, and besides David Arquette, it also has a young Scarlett Johansson. We gave it a spin to see if it made our skin crawl or if it made our eyes roll.
You eight-legged freaks!
The plot of Eight-Legged Freaks is easy enough. We open on a highway outside of a quiet mining town in Arizona. A truck driver carrying a load of chemicals swerves to avoid a rabbit, causing a barrel of toxic waste to land in a pond. Crickets that feed from the pond are collected by an exotic spider farmer named named Joshua Taft. He feeds them to his spiders, and voila, we have giant spiders on our hands. This is a clear homage to the B movies of the 1950s and is having fun making fun of itself the entire time. David Arquette plays the guy who owns the mine in town and helps the town sheriff get word out that the town is being attacked by giant spiders. He is basically playing Dewey from Scream. It really does appear that David Arquette only has one gear and he stays in it the whole entire time. Scarlett Johansson plays the teenage daughter of the sheriff, and it's kind of crazy that this was released just 1 year before Lost in Translation. I was really looking for something like Slither, Matt, which I think is amazing at balancing a goofy premise, having some humor with with actual moments of terror mixed in as well. And you get creeped out at Slither. Unfortunately, I did not find Eight-Legged Freaks to be on that level. I did jump a couple of times, but never felt scared or grossed out like I wanted to be. The humor was also a letdown for me. Sure, I chuckled a couple of times, but none of the characters were funny enough for my taste. The CGI spiders did not help its cause either. While this is not a complete piece of garbage, Matt, I wouldn't be recommending it to my friends. You've seen it before. How'd you do on a revisit?
Well, there's a bit of a short list on like modern giant spider movies,
No
right?
shit, yeah.
Which is a shame. There should be more.
Should there be?
There should be, absolutely. The humor is really silly. Like at one point, it's like downright cartoon. Like there's a cat being attacked behind some drywall, and the spider is like flinging the cat, and it's just like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You see like the cat's face come out in the drywall.
One of my favorite parts I chuckled at.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's so you got to know what you're getting yourself into. It's silly. It doesn't take itself seriously. But I like it. I don't know why. It has that tail end of the 90s charm to it. So it works for me, man. It's kind of... And also, I'm going to push back on the CGI spiders being crappy. I thought especially for 22 years ago, they looked pretty damn good.
The scene that really threw me off was when they were in the desert with the bikes and the spiders were jumping. I thought that looked ridiculous.
That looked great.
I thought it was terrible.
Wow.
Ali, this was your first spin on Eight-Legged
Right.
Freaks. Where do you fall on this? What did you think of it?
Honestly, I could kind of align with what you said. It was definitely really silly. It was cool to see. I might be a little biased because I like spiders, but something I notated, I thought the CGI was pretty bad, although, there's some scenes where the spiders are only on screen for a few seconds. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad. It just looks like a ball of fur. But yeah, those long scenes where they're being chased and stuff like that, really started to show the age of the movie. But no,
It's fair.
I thought it was pretty enjoyable. The characters were pretty, not really like dimensional, like pretty basic, but I just understand that they're just playing those tropes, right, of like the classic monster movie and kind of like the tropes of like, the sheriff solving the crime or like the town crazy person and things like that. So, overall, I thought it was a fun watch, but yeah, I wasn't really scared or anything. There was a couple scenes that were kind of creepy when they're all cocooned in the mine, and he's like pulling them aside. There's like the decomposed corpse and stuff. That was kind of creepy, but yeah, I mean, I took it kind of at its face value. It was like a comedy, really.
What I found creepy was the scene in the beginning when they go in after Joshua, the spider farmer, is attacked. Or when he gets attacked and you see like a little scuttle.
Yeah.
And then there's something crawling up his back. You know, if you're afraid of spiders, thinking there's one crawling up your back when you don't know it, which could really be happening to me right now,
right,
is terrifying. And I thought that was good. Toward the end of the movie, or really even for most of the movie, let's say, the spiders are making noises.
Yeah, so that I mean, spiders don't really make noises, so they don't chatter or anything. Although, I mean, there's no tarantulas, but there are some species that, I mean, they'll rub their legs together and it makes like an audible, maybe kind of like clicking hum or something like that.
Like a cricket
but
type thing.
They also don't bleed green. But then again, these are mutant spiders, so
Right.
I gave
They
it
had
a
that
pass.
chemical in there,
Yeah,
right?
I gave it a pass from that. But I mean, the movie used some terms in the beginning, like pedipalps, which is like the legs of a spider, like a tarantula. And what's pretty funny, I forget the kid's name, but when he's trying to prove to everybody that there's giant spiders, he grabs like a leg of a spider. And I always wonder what happened to those like props that they used in the movie, like the giant spider leg
Right.
prop and things like that.
Yeah, I like that part because they were trying to figure out how big the spider would have been
Right.
just by looking at the size of this leg, which
Right.
was ridiculously
And
huge.
Did you notice that he was carrying around a Game Boy with the Game Boy camera cartridge inserted? And that's how he
nice.
was recording his footage. This is before YouTube, but he
Right.
was like doing like a vlog, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But I could have went for, say, that early part of the scene with that kid who goes to the exotic animal farmer guy.
Facility or whatever.
Yeah, when he goes there and we see these before they're completely mutant bugs and it's ridiculous. In that, like a scene like that, they could have used more actual spiders and did something that would have creeped me out and got me. All I needed is in the beginning to be a little bit creeped out, like you're talking about, like feeling like
Oh, I
spiders.
did.
And I didn't at all. I was like, usually I'm a little like, ooh, you know, don't like seeing these things. And I didn't feel it at all. I was like, these are all fake spiders. It's not doing
It's goofy.
anything for me.
The guy in the trailer, the conspiracy theorist radio guy,
Yeah.
he was pretty funny.
He'd be a podcaster now, but in this movie,
right.
he was on the radio.
I like that character for sure. Doing the radio show out of his RV or trailer or whatever it was.
And of course, the RV gets turned over by a giant spider.
That was great. I mean, I really and when the townspeople fight back, this
Yes.
was like a fun comedy horror monster movie. I mean, I guess you really not horror monster movie.
Right. It's not too scary.
I want more of this, please. More monster movies.
I agree, but it could be better. Like when you told me to watch Slither and I watched it. Have you seen the movie Slither?
No, I haven't.
It's like this in the sense of a B movie glorified in a way, but it's
Slither is a masterpiece.
but it's fantastic because it's funny and it is actually funny and it creeps you out.
Is that JJ? Now I'm forgetting. I'm
No,
blanking.
that's the guy who did Suicide Squad.
James Gunn.
James
you.
Gunn,
Yeah.
yes. So obviously James Gunn, a master filmmaker, and this
But
was an
was
early
he at the
project.
time?
Not
Yeah.
at the time, but obviously it showed in this movie for
Right.
sure. But I want that level where I'm laughing hysterically, I'm
And you're also
creeped
grossed out.
and it just some was there, but just not enough for me for Eight-Legged Freaks.
It's noteworthy. I'm glad you've seen it now, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, would you recommend this as a spider movie, being a spider expert?
I mean, educationally, probably not. But I mean, it is a fun, lighthearted movie. Honestly, if you're into that kind of thing, I think you should watch it. I was surprised I never had heard of it before. I was asking all of my friends actually, and they're like, "You haven't seen that movie? That's like right up your alley." So I watched it, and like, I mean, the first scene where it opens up in his like little like spider facility, I'm like, oh man, that is so cool. And I actually keep a couple of those species that they show really right at the beginning, like a pink toe tarantula, things like that. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I mean, you're definitely right how it is kind of creepy when the tarantula is crawling up his back. I've done a show in the past when I was first started handling the tarantulas. I had a tarantula bolt from the tip of my finger onto the center of my back, right up my arm, in like a second, really. and by the grace, my assistant handler caught it just in time. But I mean, they can move quick when they want to. So
you have long hair too. I mean, that's terrifying, dude.
I try to keep it tied up for that. Yeah, for that exact reason. Especially when you're handling snakes. I mean, they'll try to burrow into my hair and stuff, and it's a mess. So I keep it pulled back. It's more professional that way.
Yeah, I'd rather a snake burrowing into my hair than a tarantula.
Right.
I did have a jaw-dropping moment, and it's sort of the one that Ali talked about also. This isn't the one where they go into the mine and see the people all in the webs, but the scene where Scarlett Johansson is getting webbed. That was kind of a thrilling scene.
That was mine too.
Yeah, it was her and somebody else goes into the room. Oh, it's Arquette getting it.
He tries to fight the spider with a chair,
right?
And he winds up getting webbed.
Then the sheriff comes, gets the gun, and starts shooting the spider. That scene was pretty good, and I always think how gross it would be to have a web getting sprayed all over your face. That was kind of disgusting. So I thought that was notable. Is this one we should bring out a surprise creature here? Is this a good time to do it?
I guess we can. Let's do it.
Again, oh boy. All
right, guys.
Yeah. So you don't got to open it from there. I think we just have it in that thing, right?
I'll be able to hold him a little bit. Now, This is a Mexican red-knee tarantula that I have here, and I'll preface this a little bit. He's a little stressed, okay? These spiders,
So am I.
They have a lot of eyes, right? But really how they intake sensory is through kind of feeling and stuff. So driving here and hitting all the potholes and stuff gives the spider a little bit of anxiety. So I see you guys all scooting back. Are you guys all right?
I'm as far back on the table as you can go.
So I don't want to overstress this animal, but I'll be able to handle it a little bit. This way you guys will be able to see. But this is super cool. So just give me a moment here while I work this out.
You take all the time you need.
Look at this.
Yeah.
KP
Okay.
deserves a raise because KP is over there.
Oh my God.
You guys pay me?
So basically what I'm
Filming
doing,
this for
really
us.
to move
Oh my
these
God.
spiders, you start with the back of their legs. These guys have no brain. They have no memory. They just react.
Just like Matt Kay.
They just react on sensory as it comes. So with
Wow,
that
look
being
at that
said,
thing.
to kind of manipulate it to go into your hand, you tickle the back of its leg. That kind of gives it the information it needs to lurch forward. And that's really how you do it, just slow movements.
Oh my God.
Funny enough, I used to have arachnophobia, but I did the reptile thing for so long that I couldn't go without the spiders. You know what I mean? All these other animal entertainers here in Illinois, they have spiders. So I had to get over it. But, I mean, holding a tarantula, they're so much more substantial than your regular, like, house spider that it didn't even really feel like a spider.
Right. They're almost a different kind of
Yes.
creature. I agree with you there, but I still would never freaking hold one. They're
Oh my God.
That's okay.
Oh my God.
But super, super cool. That's all it is.
wow. Creepy.
But how cool is that? So like I said,
Wow.
all tarantulas are venomous. Okay, you guys will see the fuzz on them.
See what's
those
scary
are those
is
urticating hairs.
how slow it moves
Until
and
it doesn't.
And then it doesn't. It moves
You're
really
exactly
fast,
right.
and that scared the hell out of me, man.
Nah, don't be scared. We're very professional. So,
Unbelievable.
but yeah, just slow movements. That's
An
all
absolute first on Cinemajaw, Matt Kay.
it is. How cool is that?
That is really neat.
Look at that Mexican red-knee tarantula. So this is a female. The males live like 5 years, but the females here, I mean, they'll live 20 plus years. That's because most of the time when these guys mate, the female eats the male at the end. So it happens most of the time. These guys live longer so they could have more babies and that kind of thing.
Oh, so that's a male or a female?
This is a female.
Okay.
So she's a subadult, so she's not fully grown yet, but the colors are, I mean, amazing.
And how much larger will she get?
She'll probably fill out and be maybe almost the size of the palm of my hand, maybe 3/4. So she'll get some size to her. But check that out. So they mentioned pedipalps in the movie, and that's the legs of the tarantula, right? That's really how he feels everything out before he moves forward.
So interesting.
Oh, it is really cool. So check that out.
Yeah. I see it.
But they have giant fangs. They're mildly venomous, and they have those urticating hairs.
So what's stopping that spider from biting you? It's just
It's really, I'm reading animal behavior. So
interesting.
I mean, there's no different than
She's looking right at me. I
yeah,
can tell.
she definitely is with
Oh,
all of her
yeah.
eyes. So it's really just reading animal behavior, and you can negate their stress levels and that kind of thing. Slow movements, and I'm not coaxing her too much, and that kind of thing. It's more prevalent with reptiles. You could really read their body language, and I mean, there's ways to do it after handling these animals for so long. So I don't let kids hold these tarantulas just because they're so small. Like I said, like, you know, you guys will see it's like butt, you know, it's kind of like back abdomen looking thing. It's really like a water balloon. So if it were to fall, it would explode. So I handle all the holding and that sort of thing.
And if a kid panicked and swatted
right,
it
exactly.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Probably wouldn't take too much. Here's a question I should have asked before you brought it out of the cage and pointed it at me. Do they jump?
They can.
Oh, Jesus.
They definitely can. How cool,
well done.
How cool is that?
Wow.
So definitely in theme with the movie review today.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, and I got a ton of these tarantulas. I have my own kind of. Hopefully, radioactive waste doesn't spill over or something, or I'd really be in trouble.
Good stuff.
Why didn't the crickets get big? You know.
That is so true. Maybe they were gonna.
Giant crickets would be a
there you
good
go.
flick.
Eight-legged freaks part 2.
Not as creepy.
Yeah.
I did read that there was rumor that there was going to be eight-legged freaks too, but it never came to fruition.
I'm ready if they ever want to do it.
I mean, what's Arquette doing these days? Probably not much, unless they're making another Scream.
Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, so you should know this.
There you go. Ebert, thank you.
Yep, there you go. All right, how many jaws do we? We're on a 4-jaw scale. How many jaws for eight-legged freaks?
This is a film that I find to be like a comfort movie. I revisit it often. I was really happy to bring it to Cinemajaw. I will go ahead and agree with the great Roger Ebert and give it 3 jaws.
I'm at 2 jaws on this one. Ali, what kind of jaw rating would you give it out of 4?
If it didn't have spiders, I'd probably give it a 2, but I think I'm going to go with 3.
Wow.
I enjoyed it, really. I mean, like you said, there's not really any modern giant spider films. I think that art is really going away. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
It shouldn't. Let's bring it back.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I was going to say I was going to give it 3, but it had David Arquette in it, so I went 2.
Why are you so mean to David Arquette, man?
I actually like David, but it is funny watching him. I'm like, in the Scream movies, when he's playing Dewey, you think he's playing a character. But then when you're watching him again in something else, you're like, no, he's just that dumb character. That's him.
I think you're probably right there.
All right. It brings us to our top 5 favorite movies and or scenes with actual creepy, crawly, or dangerous animals that had animal handlers involved. Ali, you're our guest. You're going to get us started this week. What are you highlighting at number 5?
Okay, so I guess since we're putting this in order, so I'd say Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. Well, it's based on the Stephen King book, but the 1989 Pet Cemetery. I guess Church. He's like a zombie cat, so he is very dangerous in the movie. So I put it at number 5 because I think there's more movies with more exotic animals. But that's one of our favorite movies, really.
Did you see the recent remake?
No, was it good? I didn't want to upset myself.
I didn't like it.
No,
I kind of liked it. They changed the ending up.
Okay.
And
the scenes with Zelda would freak me out. What is it? The mom's like sister that they like keep locked in a bedroom. She kept having flashbacks to.
I don't think they even go there in the new movie.
That was super freaky in the '89 version.
Yeah, it's worth a spin. I would say it's worth a spin, especially if you're like a big Pet Cemetery fan. You should watch it.
I love the tagline, like sometimes dead is better.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one. All right, at number 5. Let's just get this out of the way. I'm going Snakes on a Plane. You know, Sam Jackson. Yeah, there's too many goddamn snakes on this goddamn plane. When I heard the premise of this one, I was like, sign me up. Take my money, you know?
This is one I still haven't seen.
Really?
True story. Have not seen Snakes on a Plane.
Well, geez, man, you got to see that one.
I'm
I'm not going to call a Have You Seen for Snakes on a Plane because we just did Eight-Legged Freaks, but that might come back around soon.
So my number 5, this isn't one where the whole entire movie is about dangerous animals. It's more about zombies. But there's one scene in particular with a live snake, and this is Dusk Till Dawn. And the snake is the first time that we see Selma Hayek, which is at a strip club that they go to.
Burmese python, too, if I could be wrong. But
and
I think you might be right.
Yeah, and she has this python over her, and she does this dance with the snake on her. And I was reading today on the show notes about that she actually is terrified of snakes and that she had to be put in a trance.
Like hypnotized?
Yeah, hypnotized to be able to do the scene. And she didn't want to like lose the movie, but she was like, there was no way she could actually go through doing this dance scene with a snake around her entire body like that. And yeah, it was a humongous snake. I watched the scene again today and I'm like, yeah, no shit, I wouldn't have done that scene anyways, you know?
Yeah.
Another reason I would have quit a movie. But if you got a good handler like Ali, then you're in good hands. You know?
Absolutely. We are fully insured at the Reptile Den.
There we go.
I'm sure that would have really comforted her. Don't worry, we're fully insured.
So that was my number 5, the snake in Dusk Till Dawn. Into our 4s we go, Ali. What do you got sitting there?
So number 4, okay, I'm still pretty light, but I put King Kong. I kind of narrowed it to there's a lot of iterations where King Kong's in it, but obviously the 33 version. I don't know if you guys have seen the version from 1976. It's almost like the same plot, but I think he's put on display for like a gas company or something instead. It's a little more violent, but it's really the same story as the 33 version.
Is that the one with Bridges?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be. 76 is the one with Jeff Bridges. Can we throw it in the fish tank just to make sure that we're correct on that? Though?
Really enjoyed that one, and then I even put the one I grew up with is the Peter Jackson one from 2005 with Jack Black. That one's super cool. I mean, it's really the same plot, just played over and over and over.
Yeah.
We're not getting into Godzilla fighting him or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy those movies. So
No arguments for me, man. King Kong is classic. Any version you go with, even the 30s one, it's just like classic cinema.
there's actually a forgotten scene, a missing scene where he fights a tarantula, I think, from the 33 version.
Oh, on Skull
that was
Island?
lost. Yeah, that was lost, and I think there's like a bonus feature in Peter Jackson's where he tried to recreate that scene with stop motion and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Huh. Got to dig that one up. All right. At number 4, I have a movie that for some reason only is 44% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So Letterboxd is a little nicer to it. I loved it. Came out in 1977, and I must have watched it in the 80s, like when I was up way past bedtime. William Shatner is in a spider movie called Kingdom of the Spiders, and it's like an apocalypse movie. Like the world is being overrun by tarantulas, and they're not giant tarantulas either. They're just a swarm. And there was this short story I used to read when I was a kid. I think it was originally like an English class assignment, Lennington versus the Ants. I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but it's about a swarm of army ants and this farmer who takes a last stand. Very much like that. These people are holed up in a house, and instead of zombies trying to get in, it's spiders. And one by one, they die. And at the end, they pan out, and you see that the whole world or at least this town, is covered in a web. It's creepy. I don't know. Maybe that's why I have arachnophobia. Plus William Shatner.
Oh,
Does he double fist punch any of the spiders?
No, but he does shoot at spiders with a handgun, which is always stupid. I mean, I get it in 8-Legged Freaks, but we're talking about tarantulas.
Yeah, if they're small, just step on them.
Yeah, right? Hit him with a tennis
Or
racket.
a car, maybe.
Yeah.
all right. Swing it over to my number 4. Again, mine are all real insects scenes here, and this was very creepy, I guess, at the moment. But again, nothing to do the movie overall with scary animals. It's the classic Nick Cage movie Vampire's Kiss, where he believes he has turned into a vampire.
Sure.
And in this particular movie, it is very well known that he ate a live cockroach on film. And I watched it again today.
That's disgusting.
It's very disgusting. It's on the stove, and he's opening up the refrigerator, and he sees this cockroach, and then he tries to grab it. And if you ever tried to grab a cockroach, and I know Ali has, they could be really quick, right? And they move around, and he can't grab it, and he finally grabs it, and he looks at it, and you can just tell it's a real cockroach. And he puts it in his mouth, and he eats the thing. And he's done interviews since then talking about it. Oh, I'd never do it again. It was just a spur of the moment kind of thing. But they captured it on the film, and it's very bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is a reptile owner too. I actually read something that he used to own a 2-headed snake.
Yeah,
he
I heard about
donated
that.
it. And then I just seen a video the other day. He has like black throat monitor lizards, which are like giant looking kind of miniature Komodo dragon looking animals. And he's very much into like weird stuff. I think he has like a T-Rex skull or something like that. So really interesting kind of dude.
He knows how to spend his money. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff. Into our 3s we go.
Okay, Monkey Shines from 1988.
Good one.
That one's great.
I don't know this one.
Ella,
Jesus, Ryan.
she's like, so pretty much it's a quadriplegic man, and there's like this like new science where they're training like capuchin monkeys to assist with people that are paralyzed. So this monkey could, I mean, they use real monkeys, could dial the phone for him with little punch cards. He has a little laser pointer that he navigates with his mouth to pick out books, and the monkey will retrieve it for him, flip the pages for him, and this monkey kind of builds like a huge kind of like trust relationship with the quadriplegic man, and he starts getting, I don't know if he starts getting like mad at the people around him and stuff, just maybe frustrated because he had an accident that made him quadriplegic. He was hit by a semi, and there's a lot of tension, and the monkey learns to escape its enclosure, goes out at night, and kills for him all the people he has grievances with. And it ends with a super cool showdown where this quadriplegic man's trying to, kill the monkey, and the monkey's like chewing the phone line and sabotaging him. And if I remember correctly, I think he like bites the freaking throat out of the monkey to survive. And yes, the monkey's name is Ella. And that's a super cool movie. So that's a killer monkey. There's not a lot of killer monkey movies.
I was trying to think, like,
what is the name of this one?
Monkey
Shines from 80. Oh man, it is awesome.
I'll write this one down. It
is awesome.
There's another monkey movie with the monkey that has, it's like the mechanical monkey with the symbols.
That's like the poster for the Monkey Shines movie.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
I think it is. Yeah, I think that's the poster for it, literally.
I thought there's one where
might be.
there's that toy and it makes wishes come true, but it's always like with
you might be right.
Really terrible consequences.
And we can't forget Jordan Peele's Nope, which came out 2 years ago now, that had the killer monkey scene.
2 years ago?
Wow.
Did you see Nope?
No, I didn't.
Oh, creepy scene.
Nope.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do. I had forgotten about it. I was thinking about putting Nope on this list because of the alien.
But the
monkey, yeah. So
which they're filming a TV show, and then the monkey gets wild.
Yeah, so they're doing
kidding.
like an 80s sitcom.
Yeah.
And like there was a monkey, like a chimpanzee, as one of the characters.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like he was part of the family, and that was the premise
Oh my
of the
goodness,
sitcom.
I'll have to see that.
And the monkey goes like,
Dare I say ape shit?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the capuchins are cute enough, but man, chimpanzees, those are real killers, really. I mean, they're like the strength of like 3 people.
Yeah.
But really cool. I guess the relationship you'd call it that Ella had with her owner, it's a telepathic link blurring the lines between loyalty and obsession. So he has this like in-house caretaker that helps him like bathe and makes food for him, and
you mean the monkey can't cook? Come on.
right? But she starts being in spite of the dude and is like spitting on him and letting the bird fly around everywhere, and then one night the monkey just kills the bird, and it's just really cool to see how it all really derails. And I should probably mention this: the monkey that was provided to him as like to help him was also chemically injected with like stem cells or something. I think it was like brain matter or something that made it have that telepathic link.
Yeah,
so
it's always got to
a
be
very
something.
mutated monkey.
I gotta check
This
this movie out.
goddamn-
It's
mutants.
awesome. It's awesome.
All right, that swings it over to me, and I, believe it or not, at number 3, have a bunny on my list. A cute, fluffy little bunny, but don't get it twisted. This thing's a killer. It's the rabbit guarding the cave in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That's where I thought you were going.
That's classic.
I freaking love that scene. I rewatched it today. I'm a nerd. I'm just going to go ahead and admit it. I used to quote Monty Python. I was that kid, and, run away whenever something bad happened. Run away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's my number 3, Ryan.
My number 3 pick, I actually went with not reptiles here either. This is buffalo.
Okay, we're in the mammals.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Buffalo and also a wolf. And I'm going with Dances with Wolves, in which Kevin Costner
Oh my God, really?
worked alongside Two Socks, which was a wolf, and that they used certain ways to get very close to the wolf. But the scene that's minor scene. The awesome scene was when they have to go hunt the buffalo.
Tatanka?
Yes, the Tatanka. And when they do it, and you saw it on the big screen, I mean, it was quite the feat because they didn't use CGI. They actually rounded up, and I was reading about it today.
CGI. It was like 1989.
Yeah, late 80s this is for sure. Maybe 90 at the most. And they ended up filming
Fish tank.
Dances with Wolves, 89 or 90. And they ended up filming 350 buffalo on a private stock land. I guess is the largest stock that like one particular person owns of buffalo in the United States. And they went to this guy's ranch. They set up cameras everywhere. And because you can only imagine, it takes a long time to get the herd to go and run right across the area that you want them to film, how difficult and, strategic you have to be with the cameras and whatnot. And then you got to have Kevin Costner riding around on a horse acting like he's actually firing bows and arrows at the stuff. So you can imagine it took, tons and tons of time. And then you don't even know if you got actual footage to use. And then you throw in some stunt, work and cool edits. And next thing you know, you got a sprawling scene that looks absolutely epic on the big screen.
You got a herd of buffalo.
You do.
Okay.
Dance with Wolves, my number 3.
Nice.
Into our 2s we go.
So for number 2, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's called Hiss. That's 7 S's, and the tagline is "Don't say it, hiss it." So I think they really expected everybody to just go when you talk about the movie. But it's from 1973. Follows a herpetologist actually named Dr. Stoner. Funny enough, and he's a herpetologist, does dealings with venomous snakes. I mean, they use real snakes, king cobras, and with their venom glands and everything. And on the side, he's actually a crooked herpetologist. He gets like a grant from the college that he's working at. He gets like an intern that is assisting him, and he's been like messing around with I don't know if it's probably not radioactive, but he's messing around with like reptile chemical stuff, and he's giving injections to his intern, and he's saying, "Oh, it's anti-venom injections," but he starts like shedding his skin. His eyes start getting spaced apart, and there's actually a freaky scene where this Dr. Stoner drives with this giant like crate to like a freak show, and he sells the freak show owner a half snake, half man to use in the freak show. And they really used a dude that, I don't know if they call it like a quadruple amputee. I mean, it was like a Vietnam vet that had like no limbs. But they put him up in all this makeup, and they made him a half snake, half man. And the movie's super freaky, and it just screams B movie. But I mean, there's real snakes all over the movie.
Exploitation.
And, absolutely. And it's just this mad scientist guy that's trying to make more snake hybrid people. And it's a lot of fun. That's Hiss. A movie that's super ridiculous. But called Hiss.
I like it.
With 5 S's.
Seven S's. Don't say it, hiss it.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen that. I think you stumped me, man.
It's awesome.
That sounds really awesome. I'll have to check that one out. All right, at my number 2, I couldn't leave this off the list. It's probably pretty pedestrian given the movies that Ali brought to the table, but I'm going Creep Show. The short is they're creeping up on you. We've talked about this one.
We have.
The guy is living in a hermetically sealed home because he's a germaphobe, like Rye the movie guy, but he's taken it to the extreme. He never leaves. He just like does his business on the phone. And this was before the work at home era. And he suddenly is finding roaches everywhere, goes into his panic room, and that's when the swarm hits him. But the scene at the end, and I'm not spoiling anything, this is an old ass movie. He has a heart attack and dies, and we see his corpse in the panic room, and there's no roaches to be seen. Like, so for a second you think, was it all just in his head? Like, he was going mad. Like, I get it. There was nothing really there. But then his skin starts to bubble, and thousands of roaches crawl out of like his chest cavity and his mouth, and they're just like all over this room. It's an impressive shot with real insects. I have no idea how they got that many roaches. Crazy.
Somebody must have had to have. I mean, at home I have hundreds of them. They live in colonies. I want to say Tom Savini did the effects for that. That might be something to throw in the fishbowl fish tank.
Throw it in the fish tank.
Kind of figure out. That man is like a master of special effects.
Practical effects, yeah.
But I mean, you would never think of it, right? When you see like Chicago Med and they're doing like a hoarder's house and like cockroaches like run out of like a cereal box or something. Like, I mean, somebody owns all those bugs. They didn't find them.
Right.
So really, really cool kind of thing. So
it is interesting.
It's very interesting.
My number 2 pick comes from a Sylvester Stallone movie. You can't do bug movies without Stallone. I'm joking, but he made the movie
get it.
First Blood, And if you'll remember
did,
this one
yeah.
scene, he goes into a cave because he's trying to elude the police that are coming after him. And he makes that makeshift torch, which I thought as a kid that was already kind of cool. And it's kind of half filled with water. And it ends up that the cave is just filled with rats. Do you remember this
Yeah.
scene?
Oh,
and
yeah.
you see rats all along the edge as he's crawling in. Again, something I read, it was all live rats, and then they dropped him on Stallone. And so he had rats on his neck, on his shoulders. And I watched the scene again today. He's picking these things up and throwing them in the water, and it's live rats everywhere for about, maybe 15 seconds of film. And then he
I wonder if he
goes off to the side.
got bit or anything.
I mean, back then, they were probably just...
It is what it is.
Yeah, just go for it. Go
That's
for
Rocky
it, Rambo.
Balboa.
Yeah, go for it, Rambo.
Yeah.
You're a Green Beret.
We didn't even know who Rambo was then. That's First Blood.
Yeah, so that was my number 2 pick, Rambo versus the rats in First Blood. And that's a very short scene, but again, real rats. Here we are, our number 1 on Cinemajaw. What do you got, Ali?
Okay, so I really had to deep dive for this one, but for my number 1 pick, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, Alligator from 1980. It takes place in Chicago, which is super cool. It has the
In the
whole
sewers,
urban,
right?
Yeah, I mean they bring it out of the sewers too at a certain point. But really, what it is, there's this like scientist that's like behind on his research, and they want to like cut his whole funding and stuff like that. And he's doing like growth hormone research. And he's like freaking out. And they're like testing on dogs, and dogs keep dying prematurely. So he makes he's a crooked scientist, obviously, right? This is kind of a common theme. But he makes a deal with like a pet shelter, and they start supplying him with dogs, and he's injecting them and doing this research. He's dumping the bodies of the dogs in the sewers of Chicago. And somewhere else in Chicago, this kid gets a pet alligator, baby alligator as a pet. The parents are done with it. They hate the alligator. They flush it, and this baby alligator goes into the sewer. That's where it lives. It starts eating these dog carcasses that are injected with growth hormone, and it becomes a mammoth-sized gator. I mean,
That's
the scope,
a great one.
and it takes place in Chicago, which is awesome. And the scope of it is this gator eventually it just busts out of the sewer, starts
Does it
running all
become
over
a
the
ninja?
streets. Yeah, maybe, right? There you go. But I mean, it's like the scale of like a school bus or bigger, and it just starts wreaking
Awesome.
havoc everywhere. But that's my number 1 pick to kind of bring it to Chicago.
It's great. I was just talking about Chicago, that we're doing this when the rat hole in Chicago is
That's right.
everywhere, all over social media.
What is this? I haven't heard about it.
It's
Are you kidding
everywhere.
me?
It's
No.
everywhere. Tom.
I missed it. Please fill me in.
A couple just got married, I hear, at the rat
Yes,
hole.
I heard that too.
So
Really?
they're-
Oh, are you talking about the rat like thing in the concrete?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Okay.
the
I heard
sidewalk
about,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
For
Fill it up
those
in
that don't know
pennies.
what we're talking about, it looks like a rat like fell from a tree into like wet concrete, and it's just like the outline of like a dead rat.
Yes. Splat. Yeah.
And
That's
it's
a
in-
conspiracy theory. There's people saying that it might be a squirrel.
This is true. This is true.
Could
And
be.
Now a shrine is started around
Yes.
the rat hole, and people go there and take pictures, and there's a society of the rat hole and all kinds of wacky stuff going on.
There's also shit fountain. I mean, Chicago's full of weird stuff. You just got to look around.
true.
Speaking of, Matt, your number 1.
All right, my number 1 again. I should have gone before Ali, but I'm going with a classic. I'm going with Hitchcock. I'm going with The Birds. It's amazing what they did. They did wrangle actual birds. Most of them are very clearly fake. You want to talk about bad effects or effects not holding up? Watch The Birds again. Doesn't matter
But
though.
the movie still holds
The
up.
movie still holds up.
Absolutely.
Tippi Hedren, amazing. The performances are great. I honestly think it's one of the scariest apocalypse movies of all time because it's just so goddamn weird. You know, like spiders, sure, I get it. Zombies, okay, I understand. Even the goddamn crocodile. It's a little weird, but why not?
Sure.
Birds, I mean,
It's not.
wow, it's just so bizarre. But I love The Birds. I could watch it every day. I could honestly watch it every day.
I watched it a couple of years ago for the first time in a long time, and I that's why I said it holds up still. It's still very creepy to me.
Hitchcock is a master. Maybe not the effects, but like everything else.
I want to say his style of directing too. This might be something to throw in the fish tank, but I think he like tormented the lead actress
Tippi,
with
yeah.
The Birds, right? Like in real life, like drove her almost crazy doing the movie. But that's really cool.
Okay, so my number 1, I believe we reviewed it on Cinemajaw, and it's not something that I remember even that well. So the movie, checking my notes, I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. But when I thought about doing this with live animals and was thinking of live insects and stuff, this scene jumped out at my head, and I had to put it at number one. The movie is called The Devil All the Time with Robert Pattinson. It was a Netflix movie where he was a preacher. Again, nothing to do with bugs, but there is one particular scene with your actor, Harry Melling from the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Who played Longbottom. What was that guy's name?
Neville
Longbottom. So he's playing a preacher in this movie, and at one scene, they wanted to shock everybody, so they didn't tell everybody else who was in the room what he was going to do, but he's trying to prove that God can protect him.
Yeah.
And he picks up a pail, and he opens up the pail, and the thing was filled with hundreds of orb-weaving spiders, which I guess are safe spiders. I don't know, orb-weaving spiders. I don't even know what that means. But he takes this, and they had one shot to do it, and he took the whole bucket of live spiders and dumped it all over his head and face while he was still preaching and doing his scene. It's a very bizarre scene.
Robert Pattinson does this, or
No,
Harry Melling?
Harry Melling does it.
I got to see this.
And he just pours this entire bucket of spiders all
Live
over himself.
spiders.
Live spiders. And they're on his face, and he's still preaching.
Would you do that?
Oh, hell no. And they cut to other people in the room, like Pattinson. You can tell everybody's like, what the hell is going on? And they wanted that, like, surprise, because it's supposed to be, the normal people in the church that wouldn't have known that he was going to do that anyway. So they wanted that authentic reaction from everybody, and they got it. And it's a very bizarre scene.
Wow.
And again, only a minute long, but he pours live spiders all over his face and head.
So I'm watching both of those movies, Gator and Devil All the Time.
Yes.
Okay.
The Devil All the Time. Honorable mentions, I have to say The Beastmaster, which...
Good one.
That's
yeah.
a good one.
Early 1980s, reading about it today, he has a black panther that he can communicate with. Turns out it's a tiger in the movie that they painted black because the trainer, much easier, I guess, to be able to work with a trained tiger than an actual panther. So that was pretty interesting. But yes, those were all live animals in the Beastmaster as well. I don't think he could actually communicate with them like we saw in the movie. So talented trainers off screen.
I heard that they had a lot of trouble with that falcon on that set. I got a few honorables. I'll rapid fire them. Cujo bears mentioning.
Okay, that's good.
Arachnophobia. We should say it. Them, which we kind of talked about. It's in Eight-Legged Freaks for a scene. The Revenant. That bear attack. Now I'm pretty sure it was CG.
Yeah, it was
but
all
man.
CG. Yeah, there's no bear even there. But
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Jumanji. Also only CG animals. That's why it didn't make the list. But man, they're pretty frightening. That's it. Those are my honorables.
Jawheads, if we missed your favorite movie that has a creepy crawler or dangerous animal involved, shoot us a tweet. We're at Cinemajaw, or our email is feedback@cinemajaw.com. We're taking a quick break, and when we come back, we have movie trivia, Ali vs. Matt K, plus a look at the new movie on Netflix called The Kitchen. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Jawheads, I said it last week, and I'm saying it again. I love Zaphod Beeblebrox from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, played, of course, by Sam Rockwell. For those who haven't seen it, the character is a politician who is constantly switching between talking from one of his two heads. In this scene, Yassine Bey, then known as Mos Def, asks Zaphod what the frickin' frick is up with that.
Hey, man, Earth dude. I'm sorry, what was your name again? Arthur. Right, gorgeous. No hard feelings, okay? Sorry to hear about your planet. What's it called?
Earth.
Yeah, I liked Earth. Got these boots on Earth. Listen, don't mention it to the girl, okay? Because if you do,
I'll pull your spleen out through your throat.
all right. Thanks,
Okay.
buddy.
Okay.
Good stuff. Like those jammies.
Hey, Xavier. What's with the two-head thing?
Oh, yeah. Apparently, you can't be president with a whole brain. That's crazy.
Oh, so you carved it up.
Yes.
Some parts of my personality weren't exactly what you call presidential, you know what I mean? No, you know what I'm talking about.
Sparkling drinks, it all a dandy, 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 dandy.
And we're back on Cinemajaw. We're hanging out with Ali from the Reptile Den. We're talking Eight-Legged Freaks. We're about to talk about The Kitchen. But before we get there, Ryan, we did throw a couple of items, couple to a tree, into the fish tank. And I know KP wants to swim on up because we threw some piranhas in there as well. Let's open up the fish tank.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. That means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Thank you so much. It's great to be getting out of the fish tank this week. I am an animal's best friend. I'm vegan. They smell it in me, like to Ali's point of the hesitation. They know I'm their friend, so they don't bother me. We had some great questions in here this week. The first one is the 76 King Kong, the Jeff Bridges one, and that is he played alongside Jessica Lange. I did also look into it, and as Ryan pointed out, King Kong is real, and I guess he was just like busy with Charlton Heston at the time or something, and they could not get actual King Kong, so they had to use mechanical monkey arms and a dude in a suit.
Interesting.
Which honestly is scarier than a real-life giant monkey, I think. We didn't bet on this, and I'm disappointed in us for that. Dances with Wolves, 89 or 90. Who had what?
I'm going to say 90.
89.
I'm saying 90.
It came out in 1990. Yes. Ryan is correct.
That's a rare win for Ryan.
Oh,
I'm usually pretty good with shit.
It was on Ryan's list. Why did you think you would be right?
I always guess the year of films. He's always way off.
Yeah, but he would have looked it up to have put it on his list.
That's true. Nah, he probably wouldn't.
Did Tom Savini do the effects for Creepshow? And it was Tom Savini.
Cool.
From
I
Tom
didn't know
Savini. I have suspicions about Ali after reading this, though. This is from Tom Savini himself. Many of the cockroaches in that last scene were nuts and raisins. As the cinematographer, I cannot verify that was not a legume. Nice. It was a tarantula that Ali brought up.
Right.
We're taking his word.
All I have is real animals. That's awesome.
And then our last one, did Hitchcock antagonize the cast during the filming of The Birds? And yes, absolutely. Was a terrible menace for many, many reasons.
Wow.
To Tippi Hedren. We're not going to get into all of them, but he did tell her that he was going to use animatronic birds in the final attack scene, which he replaced with real birds, which how awful that must have been for this poor human. But yeah.
Pretty cool.
We're able to get real birds, but not real King Kong, and that's injustice.
Wow. A lot for KP to look up there. Well done.
Well done.
As a wild animal myself, I didn't mind it.
We also got some feedback, did we not, Matt K?
We did. We got one from PJOC on Patreon. Wrote us to say, thanks, guys. Been listening since 2015 from the UK. Especially love your year-end reviews with Brian Tallarico and the banter between Matt, Rye, and KP. Keep up the good work.
Oh, nice to hear from the Patreons.
Right? Yes. And then I got to read this one. This one came in on Instant Messenger from Mark from Villa Park. And he said, just listen to the segment where we were talking about the Iron Claw and about Jeremy Allen White or Jeremy. Yeah. His Gene Wilder face is uncanny. I can definitely pick up on what you're putting down about that movie. A lot of times those types of indie movies miss the mark. He's talking about how my take on the film. A lot of times those types of indie movies miss the mark on the development piece, which in turn make for a bit of a morose or hollow movie overall. They're incredibly well acted and they're well written with good dialogue and beautifully shot, but there's just a certain thinness to them sometimes. Thank you, Mark. Those are the words I was searching for when I did my review. Like, it's a good movie, but there is a thinness to it. He put it so well in that comment, I had to read it.
Well, I was a fan.
I'm a fan. I'm overall fan, but there was something that I found a little lacking. I like the movie, but I'm glad Mark wrote in to help me clarify.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we're still in the fish tank. Next week on the show, after having snakes and bugs here, Matt has booked an elephant trainer, and we're supposed to have elephants here on the podcast. No.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I think we're going to go solo next week.
Yeah.
And do maybe a review-o-rama. I know.
Really? Oh, jeez.
I know we're going to see Argyle, which I would say is our first 2024 movie we're actually looking forward to some degree.
True. This is true, yeah.
There is a Netflix documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop, about the making of We Are the World, the song.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-huh.
And then the 50-year anniversary, we want to do anniversary screenings. Okay. I mentioned this to Matt. Why not do like a 50, a 40, a 30, a 25? And we're like, yeah, that's great. And then I read that Netflix decided to do anniversary editions, and they're starting with 50. And I did not plan this at all. So they put together some movies that are 50 years old and put them on their service. One of them was what we wanted to cover, which was The Conversation.
I have
with
never
Gene
watched.
Hackman.
I've never sat down and watched The Conversation.
Francis Ford Coppola.
We're going to have a conversation about The Conversation.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
That's what we're looking forward to next week.
That's doable.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds okay.
All right. Everything I think we got done, right, KP?
As far as I know.
Jump back in that fish tank.
You bet.
When I tell you that I just watched a movie called The Kitchen on Netflix, you might think it's about Gordon Ramsay, or perhaps a horror starring Ralph Fiennes, or maybe it's about Hell's Kitchen in New York or something. Nope. The Kitchen is the debut from co-directors Daniel Kaluuya, perhaps best known for Get Out, and Kibwe Tavares, and it's a sci-fi dystopian movie about a housing crisis. I tell you, you get nothing from that title. The Kitchen is currently streaming on Netflix, but can this movie light the stove, or is Soylent Green people or something? Ryan and I cracked some eggs to cook this omelet.
Good morning. This is the Low Kitchen, live and direct.
I'm getting out of this place. It's our home. Shit gets real. Saving myself.
So where do you live?
Kitchen.
Here's what's happening in the kitchen. In a near-future London, the gap between the haves and have-nots is in sharp focus. Isaac, or Izzy, as he's commonly referred to, is played by Kano, a British rapper. He lives in a giant squat known as the kitchen, where shower lines stretch for hours, the power is spotty. Constant surveillance gives way to brutal police raids, as it's clear that the people of the kitchen are no longer welcome there by the powers that be. Through it all, the people create art, music, and even a radio station, and the place flourishes with a sense of beauty and community. None of this gets through to the isolated and stoic Izzy. He goes to work at his funeral home job every day, dodges the cops in the raids, and barely has any human contact. He dreams of escaping the kitchen, and he may already have his ticket out. That's when he meets Benji, a young boy who has just lost his mom. Turns out Izzy knew Benji's mom, in the biblical sense, Ryan, and the "Are You My Daddy" vibes are clear from the outset of their relationship. For some reason, these two see something in each other. Benji cracks through the tough outer shell of Izzy, and Izzy teaches Benji how to survive in a cruel and harsh world. First, I got to give props to the lead actors here, both of them. Kano, the British rapper, I had never heard of him, but he's excellent as Izzy. You can really see the demons behind his eyes that he's battling. Benji, played by a young Jedediah Bannerman, he's a newcomer, but one that I'm going to keep an eye out for because I loved him as well. They also had a great chemistry together. Obviously, this movie leaves you with a lot to think about in terms of where society could be headed, race, poverty, community, housing, and cycles. I mean that in every sense of the word. These are the themes that recur through the movie. While this could be called a sci-fi movie, the future tech on display is more or less in the background. This could easily and sadly have been believably set in any era. It also leaves the exact ending up to the viewer, which I appreciated. I say spend some time in the kitchen and cook this one up.
Well, I'm glad you liked it because I'm sort of mixed on this one. For starters, I do want to recommend watching this with the subtitles on. Did you?
I gotta say there are some thick accents, and
very thick accents.
I turned the subtitles on at one point, and then I went ahead and turned them back off.
So I had to turn them on. I'm glad I did, and not only that, it goes from a loud, not necessarily action, but when they're on the dirt bikes, the motorcycles, and whatnot, kind of loud, thunderous sound, and then a couple of like really quiet talkers, and they got these thick English accents. I'm like, my God,
maybe the sound mix isn't the best.
It sure wasn't. I always say I hate reviewing films that I either don't really like or I dislike. I hate those middle of the road ones.
This is the middle of the road.
Boy, is this the middle of the road, The Kitchen. I didn't really get much from it. I liked the relationship between the young kid and clearly what is going to be his father. As you mentioned, you get the vibes right away. But not much else. I mean, the idea that what you're talking about being the, looking at it as a parallel of where maybe society is heading or could be said at any time, I can see it to some degree, but I didn't really understand why the cops were going in to raid the kitchen area.
It's a squat.
But for what? I mean, it's to get people out of there?
Yeah, you know what a squat is.
Yeah, where they're
not paying rent. They're living there free.
In that entire complex?
Yes.
Holy cow.
You're right. Otherwise, I would imagine at least that they would have renters' rights.
But there were so many people there. The cops that they would bring in couldn't get all of those people out.
That's why they did it little by little. They terrorized this community to try to evict them through
Totally
through
missed
terror.
that. I totally missed that.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
that's
man,
the whole theme of the movie,
I know.
dude.
I kept watching. I'm like, well, I don't know. How are they going to ever get all these people out? This is ridiculous. So you're just doing it little by little was the idea of the police. That would have taken 50 years.
Right. So they have these people under constant surveillance with these drones that are a total nuisance and makes you feel icky because you're being watched. And then they send in riot police to just beat up whoever's out there. Yet these people persevere, create culture and beauty. They have the radio station where they talk to one another.
I like that.
The sense of community in the kitchen was strong, even though they knew that it was crumbling around them. You know, they kept their sense of hope. They kept their sense of identity and culture. It's really about a group of people holding on. You know, I think there's echoes here in Chicago of like Cabrini Green and stuff like that. It was interesting. I found that cool. It's also about the cycle, not just like the human, because he works at a funeral home and they take the bodies and they compost them and they give the bereaved tree, like a seedling. And it's also about how the building's crumbling down and, you know, the mom dies and the dad has to take over. I don't know. So there's a lot there.
There is. And I like that you're pointing this out because I'm like, all right, I agree with you to a certain extent here. The look of the film, obviously they don't have the largest budget. I thought they did a pretty good job for what they were probably working with. Like you said, the building crumbling down, that looked pretty cool because it was like a high rise where people are still living in it, but part of the building's missing. That was pretty neat.
Definitely pretty neat.
And then when he gets the nicer apartment, this guy gets a nicer apartment and he walks in. I was like, wow, he's got a really good view. But that's where the technology comes in. It turns out that the window is really just a screen. And you could just change the screen to what you want to look out at. But it looks so realistic that you would think it's a window if you walked into somebody's place. Kind of cool technology like that.
I mean, yeah, Paul Verhoeven did it in Total Recall.
Right. But it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for my jaw-dropping moment, it was also had to do with technology, and this is a really dumb moment, but boy, did I love it. Because, I know, and everybody here in the room knows, like, I look really good with a shaved head. But back in the day,
so
Matt,
modest.
When it was thinning, I didn't want to shave it for the longest time. And I remember thinking, if there was just technology that I could see myself perfect, with the shaved head. And in this movie, they go to pick out a haircut. And they show that one scene, and it's like it's done in a way where you can see every single style in like such a nice way. I thought, boy, that would be great to just walk in.
Are you kidding? Have you not heard of Snapchat filters, dude?
No shit, but of course, I'm talking about like realistic versions.
I mean, they're pretty good nowadays.
Yes, but and yes, this still has only been around for a little while.
It's probably about 8 years, dude.
I've had a shaved head longer than that.
This is true. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Good point, Ryan.
Did you have a jaw-dropping moment?
My jaw-dropping moment was the roller skating scene. Like they go into the heart of this, I don't know what you call it, the squat, the kitchen, and there's a roller rink in there. And this is where I think like the beating, pulsating heart of this community is this bar or roller rink that they have downstairs in this basement of this building. It's pretty cool. And like the little shops and the haircut place, like just the sense of culture that they built around it. It's not really exactly a moment, but there you go.
2 jaws from Ride the Movie Guy.
Wow.
2 jaws.
You're harsh, man. You're putting this on the same level as 8-Legged Freaks?
Yeah, I guess I am.
All right, this is a 3-jaw movie. The sci-fi element bumps it up a notch for me. Maybe I'm a sucker for that. I thought it was good. This is Kaluuya's first writing and directorial credit. I think it's interesting. Worth a spin.
Check it out, Jawheads. It is streaming now on Netflix. Let us know what you think. Shoot us a tweet. We're at Cinemajaw. Time to play some trivia, Matt K.
All right.
Ali's nervous over here.
I'm nervous. If I win, he's going to feed me to his snake.
That's right.
No help from the snakes, okay?
Okay. I have a telepathic relationship like in Monkey Shines. So feeding me the answers.
So I titled this trivia Creepy Crawlers movie trivia. You're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, so if somebody doesn't know their question, you get a chance at it. They start off easy.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Shoot. I might as well go first. We'll see how I do.
All right. The Cobra Kai are a group from what 1984 movie?
The Karate Kid.
That is correct. We are on the board.
Wow.
1-0. Question 2 over to Matt K. Matt, in 1998, A Bug's Life was released by Pixar, while DreamWorks released this animated film the same time.
Ants?
That is correct.
Wow.
Okay. We are tied up at 1. It's a ball game. Question 3, back over to Ali. Ali, who played the lead, Alex Cross, in the 2001 film Along Came a Spider?
I got nothing.
That is incorrect.
Was that
Along Came a Spider?
Yeah, Morgan Freeman.
That was Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
He did 2 movies.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't never seen either of them.
Is that Grisham? Who writes those novels? I forget.
Late Fish Tank.
All right.
I don't know.
I think I read one of them.
Question 4 over to Matt K. Matt, The Girl in the Spider's Web was the 4th film in this series that started with which film?
Well, I don't think it's the girl with the dragon tattoo, because she had a dragon tattoo, then she kicked a hornet's nest, and then Every Which Way But Loose, right? I mean, fuck, what was the third movie called? Kicked a hornet's nest. I'm going to say the girl with the dragon tattoo.
That is correct.
I really didn't think that was right.
3-1, Matt K. We need some help here, Ali. Question 5 over to Ali. Ali, name the Martin Scorsese film. It's a gangster film that featured a character named Spider.
This is tough.
Go with your gut.
Let's see.
Classic Martin Scorsese gangster film.
All right, I'm just going to guess. Casino. No.
Damn it.
Oh, shit.
I'm bad with names.
No, now I know. That's the one that Joe Pesci shoots, tells him to dance, and then he shoots him in the foot, and then later he kills him in cold blood at the poker game in the basement.
You talking about Casino?
No, Goodfellas.
It is Goodfellas.
It is Goodfellas. Oh, my gosh. I was on track.
You were on track. Back over to Matt for question number 6.
It was Pesci. You were definitely on track.
2006 film called Bug starred Ashley Judd and this Shape of Water actor.
2006?
Yeah, 2006 name. The film was Bug. It starred Ashley Judd and this Shape of Water actor.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, so it can't be Michael Shannon in 2006. And what is her name? Oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. Octavia Spencer? That's my guess.
Any guess here?
I got nothing.
He did mention Michael Shannon.
Is it Michael Shannon?
That is correct.
Wow, that
you
was
should have went with Michael Shannon. You
I didn't think in 2006. What the hell was Michael Shannon
doing? He was
doing?
already acting at that point. Yeah.
With who?
With Ashley Judd.
Wow.
Okay, that was a pretty easy point, but I guess I'll take it.
It is 4-2. Question 7 over to Ali. Ali, the actor Daniel Stern had a tarantula on his face in this Christmas classic that starred Macaulay Culkin.
Home Alone.
4-3. We got a ball game. Last question over to Matt K. Matt, who voiced Sebastian J. Cricket in Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio 2 years ago? Maybe even last year.
2 years. Okay, thank God it was last year. Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Who voiced Sebastian J. Cricket?
So one of them was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the other one was Who did it? Who did the other? It doesn't matter. I'm guessing Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That was correct. Matt does win this one, unfortunately. Can I get a handshake here?
That was pretty fair. That was pretty
though.
close.
At least we had a lot of good, correct answers.
I can't believe you took Obi-Wan Kenobi as the answer.
Yeah, what's up with that? I want to technical on that, but I'll leave the movies to you. I'll do the animal handling.
That's probably a good idea, because if we handled the animals, all hell will break loose.
If it came down to a tie, we call it a jawbreaker here. It would have been the age of Macaulay Culkin closest to. How old is Macaulay these days, Matt?
I think Macaulay is, might be just a little younger than, I'd say. Okay, let's say he is 45 years old.
Lock him in at 45. How old do you got to guess?
39.
Give that one to Matt K. 43, right in between.
Oh,
you guys
really
though.
close.
Yeah.
Really
you guys
close.
were on top of that.
That's a curly hair tarantula, by the way, that's utilized in Home Alone. I have one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big tarantula,
yeah,
too, because it crawls
is.
right on his face. And
right.
Daniel Stern's got a big face.
Yeah, it's got to be about half the size of his.
It's tricky to pull off having a tarantula on your face.
Now, is that a dangerous tarantula, or he was okay?
No, he was probably overall fine. Again, these are, they have those urticating hairs, especially with the curly hair. But, I mean, if you're talking about a movie from the 80s, keep in mind, the snakes we have today are very much different than the ones we had in the 80s, especially as we keep breeding them out of the wild. So some of the spiders we have today are 25 generations born in captivity. So those first spiders in the 80s, though, used in film and that kind of thing, I would think maybe they're all wild caught, so they're definitely meaner, that's for sure. So maybe he was in a little bit of danger, maybe getting an urticated hair in his eye. That would suck.
Because he screams, too.
Right.
Yes. That's a great scene.
Yes. That was another one I looked up today, and it was obviously a live spider. I guess they coaxed him and said it was going to be a fake spider all the way up until the day of, and then they're like, we're going to use a live spider, and he went with it. So.
Good for him. Good for Daniel
And it's
Stern.
a classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic. We threw a late addition into the fish tank. KP, what do we got there?
Yes, so along came a spider, was not Grisham, James Patterson.
Patterson.
So,
I read 2 of the books.
Did
maybe.
you?
Yeah, at least one.
Nice.
Yeah. They're good.
Brings us to the end of a great Jawheads. If you're out there and you need a spider in one of your movies, right? Or you got something going on that you need a giant snake for, go to the Reptile Den. We got links in the show note, or go to the reptileden.net. As you heard, Ali, he's an expert.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, it was a lot of fun coming on, so love to be back.
We'll have you back. Hell yeah, man. This was fun. No doubt.
Awesome.
Especially when you get the alligator.
Yeah, we'll meet some new friends.
Oh, we're always adding animals to the den, that's for sure.
Pretty soon we're gonna have giraffes in here. It's gonna be a wild show, the wild kingdom of Cinemajaw. We also got to thank our editor, our producer, KP.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I did also just buy new prints for this, so I'm going to plug it again. Pancakes and Booze, February 24th at Reggie's. Come on out and see us at P_Chan_art for my Instagram as well. It's going to be a fun gallery.
Do it.
Absolutely. We also want to thank the Patreons.
Yeah.
A lot of extra stuff that we just dumped onto Patreon last week, and I know people are enjoying it. There was the feat of strength between Matt K and KP trying to rip a phone book, but we didn't have a book, so we tried to rip a catalog. And
it was phone book sized.
You both did well.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's see you do it.
We also added another movie roundup with plenty of reviews out there. So always doing something on Patreon. If you want to join us over there, go to patreon.com/Cinemajaw. It would mean the world to us. If you can't support us that way, always just leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, click a button or two around whatever player you're playing this on. It does help. It really does. And it's free.
Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt K.
And keep on jawing about the movies.